I once heard the story of a young lady who sat outside an airport in a country in West Africa selling food items. And as she sat down and was waiting for customers to come and buy of the items she was selling, a couple of businessmen ran past her, trying to make it to the airport to catch their flight because they were running late. Now, as they ran past her, one of the businessmen mistakenly collided with the lady, and the item she was selling basically fell off the table she had set up and fell to the ground. And I think about 70% of the goods she was selling was beyond repair. Now, the businessmen were so focused on catching their flight that they ignored the lady and continued heading towards the aircraft for boarding. Now, one of the businessmen was conscience stricken, and as he made his way to the aircraft, he felt he had to go back. So he told the rest of the guys that, you know what, I'll make the next flight. You guys go ahead and do what we have to do. But I need to go back. I don't think we did right by this lady. So he goes back to the lady, and unknown to them, the lady was actually visually impaired, so she could not see, and that meant she couldn't even make the chase and actually let them know that they had knocked her goods to the ground. So he goes up to the lady and he asks her, how can I compensate for this? How much would it cost? And after a few minutes of discussion, he basically pays for what they had damaged. And he was about to head away, and then the lady stopped him and asked him a very important question. She asked him, Sir, are you Jesus? Are you Jesus? This question is so powerful because the lady could not see. Yet something about what she had been told about Jesus made her wonder that this man had exhibited a character, a portrait of what they had told her about Jesus that was so real that she had to ask, was this the Jesus they had been telling her about? And as I share that story, I want to use that as a foundation for the second biblical mark of our following Jesus, or of our followership of Jesus, and that's the testament of our character. You see, if the world will know that we are followers of Jesus, they will know by the proofs of the testament of our character. And by that I mean the world should be able to see the way we live our lives and see something so consistent in the life of Jesus, translated and replicated in our life. And then they should be able to say, you know what, this seems like those followers of Jesus. This seems like what it means to live out lives as followers of Jesus in the 21st century. You see, Galatians 5:22 to 23 says, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such things there is no law. One of the most powerful things we can do for ourselves as believers is to allow the Holy Spirit mold us and shape us to the point where the fruits of the Spirit become the Christ-like character that we begin to exhibit, that it becomes so powerful that when the world looks, they see the miracle of Christ-like character replicated in everyday people living their lives for Jesus. The miracle of Christ-like character replicated in everyday people living their lives for Jesus. And why is this important? Because the world wants to see what's so fascinating about following Jesus, what's so countercultural, and what's so different from what we already know. It's the testament of our character that God can work in us as feeble and weak and as beggarly as we may be in our own selves. When the Holy Spirit begins to work in us, He can produce these fruits of the Spirit, so we can respond to situations that should provoke violence with peace. We can show the goodness of God. We can exhibit self-control when we should exhibit something other than self-control. We can show kindness, gentleness, forbearance, patience. The understanding here is that the testament of Christ-like character is what the world will see and be able to say, you know what, these are followers of Jesus. So another biblical mark of what it means to follow Jesus is that we will have the testament of Christ-like character replicated in our everyday life that the world can see and testify that of a truth, these are followers of Jesus. And I pray that this week as we go about our week, that the Lord will help us understand how powerful this lends credence to our testimony as Christians, and we'll begin to see those fruits in our lives even from today. God bless.